Hi Rebel, hi Katie and team. What's 2 plus 2? 4. Easy, right? How about 615 times 145? Now we could use a calculator or we could do it step by step. If we do it step by step, we do the simple math. We do simple multiplication. 5 times 5, 25. Bring over 2, 5 times 1, 5, plus 2, 7, and we could go on and on. Hi, my name is Carl Kaw. I am a sophomore at Minerva University, currently pursuing computer science and currently studying, prepping for the next semester with data structures and algorithms. Now, one feature that I'd like to suggest is bringing that step-by-step math-like problem solving to code, specifically through a visual debugger. This, of course, where credit is due, was something I've seen implemented in an educational website, specifically thinking like a computer science, props to them, but I've also read that we as designers can steal after my 3 years of product design experience. And I can say that this feature will be significantly useful. And yes, I've already done my research at REPL, and I've seen that when I wanted to implement a similar experience, I find myself having to, one, set up all of these, two, manually add the breakpoints, and three, having to read in a say, beginner-friendly manner. Like, oh, these are the variables I've got. Oh, which one was recently added because of all the refreshing, as you have noticed. But then again, with all my respect to REPL, I know that there has been a lot of considerations under the design, so I acknowledge that there might be gaps in my knowledge, which leads to this reasoning. To answer your questions more directly, why I think it's valuable, it's because it helps students like me, who I think REPL IT is heavily investing on, as I've noticed in my friend David Huang, who I've met on Webflow last year's posts, and a lot of the hackathons and educational events that I've seen. REPL ID is starting to become a household name. Why I think it's valuable is it's because it helps students demystify complex code concepts like recursion, for example, by showing them a step-by-step visual execution of their code. Take this example where I try to calculate the compound interest, the total compound interest earned. There are a lot of numbers I have to crunch. And although the pen and paper method could work, I also see this as an opportunity for me to hone my computer science mental model and frameworks. And as we can see, though this is a bad code editor, the UX is not really color coded, but as you can see, I can now see where the numbers come from, and it helps me make it make sense. Second is it's really helpful for seasoned programmers as well, I would argue, because although things can get pretty complex, going back to more step by step, it's almost like visualizing the rubber ducky technique, except you're the rubber ducky and the code interpreter is what's telling you what's happening. But through that, I can imagine a lot of bugs solved this way too. Additionally, I want to show you guys that stealing is not the only skill I have. A few other features I'd add to improve Python tutor, website name by the way, is by making it clear that, oh, this is the line that was just executed and this is the line that I will execute next. Not only that, but after executing this line, for example, the final amount I would say would be represented through a, say, circle. This is the final amount, for example, and then it would just like go into this color-coded square again, just so that we could really know where the numbers are going through and which variables they're gonna be stored under. And my way of implementation for this, as somebody who still likes motion design a lot, is to perhaps use CSS animations to just make that traverse over there, and as soon as that arrives, change the color of this specific rectangle, just so that we really know what we're looking at. And as for potential risk and benefits, I would say the risk is more on scalability, complexity, because I know that having to do it step by step might get a bit too complicated. However, seeing how this was easily implemented in a large textbook turned into a website, I'm pretty optimistic that the back end isn't that heavy, although we will see. This is what research is for. But because the benefits just really outweighs the cons, as you can see here, it would lead to a deeper understanding, excuse me, a deeper understanding of concepts and potentially decrease the time needed to debug. And as somebody with ADHD, it really helps me shift my gaze to something that really needs focus while reducing cognitive load, a very essential commodity in today's knowledge-driven world. As for the validation metrics, just to really answer your question, I would say that we could easily evaluate its effectiveness by seeing the total number of uses according to the number of users or whatever formula we think is helpful. Or we could use a really simple quantitative Likert scales feedback, something like this, for example. And we can just like, oh, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you find code lengths? Not to be confused with VS Code's code lengths. Yes, I've done my research. And other than that, we could also ask for general surveys with incentives or carrots, and we could also just get qualitative feedback from educational heads in every university that's incorporating ReplIt in their day-to-day learning. Other than that, I also want to highlight that I have had 3 years of experience in product design already, although my expertise back in a startup agency called Symph in the Philippines, where I'm born and raised proudly, was more creative front-end web design with Webflow, and because I was a sucker for motion animation. But over the years, I've learned how to work with design systems such as yours, Repl. In fact, my favorite design systems are more one from Untitled UI. And I've in fact implemented an internal product, which I can't name because of NDA, back in my previous company using Ant Design, and I single-handedly converted my designs after tons and tons of research to code, to very basic React skeleton code. And I guess that's it for me. If you'd like to brainstorm with me, or when you'll brainstorm with me, perhaps I can nerd about it even more and talk about how, ooh, these other features are helpful as well because we're living in an AI world. It could be our personal tutor. And if not, we can also add these 2 features into Visual Debugger to show them to our human tutors, our professors. And if you're like me, I love taking notes in Notion. These are my initial notes for algorithms, and I could just embed them there and revisit it whenever I'd like to. Just really reinforcing and helping with the learning journey of each and every one. Again, my name is Carl Kaw, sophomore of CS at Minerva University, and I highly, highly hope that I'd be selected to be an intern. Thank you very much.